This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. Amid a diplomatic storm that has seen Armenia and Belarus withdraw their ambassadors and Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan ban all Armenian officials from visiting there, the Brussels-based news site POLITICO Europe reported yesterday that leaked documents confirm Belarus delivered advanced weapons to Azerbaijan between 2018 and 2022. CivilNet has independently confirmed that information. This is despite the fact Belarus is a formal ally of Armenia, as they are both members of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, the Russian-led military alliance that Pashinyan has repeatedly indicated he wants to pull out from. Last month, Pashinyan claimed that he knew of at least 2 CSTO countries that actively aided Azerbaijan in the run-up to the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war. Though he did not name names, the remarks were widely seen as referring to Russia and Belarus. The documents leaked to POLITICO Europe show that Belarus helped modernize Azerbaijan's older artillery equipment and provide new gear for electronic warfare and drone systems. They include letters from the Belarusian State Arms Export Agency about orders from Azerbaijan and correspondence between the two countries for the purchase of counter-drone mobile warfare stations. In recent years, artillery and drones have been widely used by Azerbaijan against Armenia in not just the 2020 war, but also in multiple attacks on Armenia since then, as well as in last year's ethnic cleansing of Nagorno-Karabakh. There was no immediate comment from Belarus on POLITICO Europe's reporting. Armenia's defense ministry has denied 3 separate claims in the last 3 days from Azerbaijan's defense ministry that Armenian troops allegedly fired at Azerbaijani positions across the border. Azerbaijan claimed Armenia opened fire along the border with Nakhichevan over a period of 8 hours during the day Wednesday, as well as in the early morning yesterday and today. These are the first claims of shooting across the border since early April, when Armenia claimed Azerbaijan was repeatedly shooting all along the eastern border over a period of several days. The subsequent 2-month quiet period coincided with a joint decision to demarcate part of their border along Armenia's northeastern Tavush region. That contentious process has mainly finished now, though it does not become official until it is signed off on, the timeline for which remains unclear. In other military news, an Armenian soldier was found dead with a gunshot wound this morning at his post near an unspecified portion of the border. An investigation is ongoing. There are no indications of enemy fire. Lawyers for former Artsakh State Minister Ruben Vardanyan sent an urgent appeal yesterday to the United States Special Rapporteur on Torture, asking her to condemn what they called the philanthropist's torture and ill treatment by Azerbaijan. This stems from reports from Vardanyan's family in April that he was suffering abuse in solitary confinement, including a lack of access to drinking water, sleep, and proper medical treatment. Vardanyan engaged in a hunger strike for much of the month to protest his detention and those of his fellow ethnic Armenian prisoners. The statement from his lawyers also details the hostile and unhygienic conditions Vardanyan reportedly has been subject to, and how he is prevented from seeing anyone, including his lawyer and the local ombudsman. The lawyers note the treatment would appear to violate Azerbaijan's obligations under the Convention Against Torture, as well as other UN norms. International pressure on Azerbaijan continues to build over its holding of dozens of Armenian detainees, especially in light of its upcoming hosting of a global UN climate summit in November. On Tuesday, U.S. Senator Edward Markey, a Massachusetts Democrat, called for the prisoner's release, specifically noting and condemning Vardanyan's recent alleged treatment. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 12. That's the number of journalists injured in Wednesday's melee outside the Armenian parliament, which saw police use flash grenades to disperse a crowd of protesters demanding Pashinyan's resignation. In a joint statement, Armenia's leading press freedom groups condemned the violence, suggesting that police deliberately targeted journalists covering the event, including CivilNet cameraman Nadeg Hayryan, who suffered light injuries to his leg and head. Meanwhile, the Paris-based advocacy group Reporters Without Borders also issued a condemnation, calling for a transparent and independent investigation to bring those responsible to justice. Yesterday, Pashinyan claimed the police's behavior was professional, and if faced with a similar situation, officers would act again in the same way. For its part, the U.S. Embassy in Yerevan also issued a statement urging protesters to responsibly exercise their right to freedom of assembly by eschewing repressing violence, while encouraging law enforcement to maintain order in a manner that upholds citizens' rights and to investigate any incidents in which procedures may have been violated, including with regards to journalists covering demonstrations. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.